You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous.
We're a republic. Anyways, welcome to the new. I'm your host, Randy&April. Happy Motivated Monday, everyone. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I actually love playing that clip because it really speaks volumes to what we're seeing in media today. And it's a shame. There's no other way to put it. It's just a crying shame. But I encourage you all to go to www.TECNTV.com. We have a survey link there that I implore you all to please complete for us. We're trying to gauge the national sentiment of whether or not you rely on media, on mainstream media, or do you look to alternative news sources like Newsmax, OAN, TECN, for example. And that way we can kind of get a gauging as to how better we can provide a service to the American people, well, to the universe, actually, because I know aliens are watching too. But no, seriously, please go to www.tecntv.com. Complete the survey so we can garner that information to better serve you all. So, over the weekend we had 3 tragic losses that we had. I don't know if you all remember or even know. Some of you are young, so I give you a pass there. But Julio was the name of his character on Sanford and Son, but his real name is Gregory Sierra. He passed away yesterday at the age of 83. And then he also played in not only in Sanford and Son, but he also played in Barney Miller. Old shows. Yeah, I know. I'm probably putting some of you through some nostalgic moments right now. But Larry King also passed away over the weekend at, I want to say he was 87. And then on Friday, which I covered, was the passing of Hank Aaron. You know the old saying, they go in threes. And whether or not they're like big iconic figures or just everyday people that you may not know, you tend to see a trend, especially when media is reporting that such died. Then you look at another news source, such died. So there's a running trend there, and it always says that people go in threes. So But my condolences, our condolences, from on behalf of the TECN family to the families of those that were lost over this past weekend. Um, there's also a national ammo shortage. This is no news to most of you, of course, but uh, I've been on an excursion this past weekend trying to find some additional ammo, and for one of my calibers, I will uh, leave unmentioned. And but there's like a national shortage. And I talked to so many vendors and everything else, and they're like, this is the one way that they're gonna try to get people to get rid of their guns. They don't have to go door to door to take them. They're just gonna stop producing ammo. You know, the lead shortage, powder shortage, and everything else. Supplies for to make ammunition are all gone. They're running low. I don't know if somebody's out there hoarding it like tissue. If so, please stop so we can share the wealth here. But seriously, that is it does give some credence to it being some kind of uh, national intent, if you will, to not have a production of ammunition like we commonly see. Usually, you go to the store, you're not thinking twice. You see shelves just stocked full of ammunition. Now those shelves are bare. You may find some austere caliber type ammunition on the shelf there, like 28 gauge or something. Like, who really has that? And so, something to look out for, something to think about, something to consider. Yes, you can go to websites and order them, but even going to a website, they're on back order and everything else. And so it's tough times we're in right now. Tough times. But and moving on, something that came to my attention yesterday that is quite disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. In a phone call with the president of Mexico, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, if that's how you say his name, President Biden with an asterisk was on a phone call with him pledging to send 4 billion. That's with a B, four with a B, $1 billion to El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala to assist in the impending, the ensuing immigration crisis that is going on. Now we already know that I shared this couple of last week, a couple weeks ago, whatever time frame that election was, the swearing in and all that. But there's a migrant caravan on its way to the United States to the southern border, and the, this effort of sending the money is to help keep them there, folks. I may be some dumb, but I ain't plumb dumb. I was born at night, but not last night. You're meaning to tell me that all of these people, thousands, that are fleeing their country to get away from oppression, socialism, and everything else, to come to America for a better life. And there's nothing wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong that thinking that already anti-immigration. I am absolutely not. I am so pro-immigration. It's not funny. But however, comma, do it the right way. Come seek, apply through the proper channels and everything else. Don't just come flooding in through the gates because you don't know who you are, where you came from, what's your name, and all that good stuff. That leads to other problems that I may touch on later, I may not, but you kind of already know where this is going. But you're sending this money to these countries, to the leaders of these countries who are oppressing dictators, socialist driven individuals. Do you really think this $4 billion is going to go to support the people of those countries? Mm-mm. What I do believe, and this is a heart of hearts, and I do believe that this administration is utilizing these funds to pay a debt. Yes, to pay a debt. We just had an election. Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela, publicly celebrated that we helped get Biden elected. Folks, I'm going to leave it there. I'll let you take for what you want from that. So, but I will also touch the fact that here we are in the United States, as I covered last week, the killing of the Keystone Pipeline, the uh, funding of overseas, which I'll touch on later on, but the funding of overseas abortions, um, the stimulus package, $1.9 trillion, which I'm going to touch on later. All these things, but we're in a pandemic. People are being laid off of work. People are struggling. There are homeless people, homeless for years, decades, and yet and still, we find a magical pot of money to send abroad versus building, taking federal land, even building condominiums, apartment complexes, whatever you want to call it, and taking the homeless and putting them there, putting money back into urban communities that for some reason or another they like to burn and tear their stuff down every time they get pissed off. But okay, I digress on that right now. But build these communities back up, incentivize them to maintain their crap versus keeping them in despair and what have you. So I don't know. That $4 billion I think would go a long way. We still have this talk of reparations. 45 billion people in the world, 45 billion African Americans in the United States. 45 million. You're sitting at 4 billion. Hey, I'm not gonna tell you how to screw that chicken, but we'll be right back.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. We have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many long months of struggle and of suffering. You ask, what is our policy? I will say, it is to wage war by sea, land, and air, with all our might, with all the strength that God can give us, to wage war against a monstrous tyranny never surpassed in the dark and lamentable catalogue of human crime. That is our policy. You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word: victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory however long and hard the road may be. For without victory there is no survival.
Now we are the masters of our fate. That the task which has been set us is not above our strength. That its pangs and toils are not beyond our endurance. As long as we have faith in our cause and an unconquerable willpower, salvation will not be denied us.
Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. Let us, therefore, brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. Never give in. Never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy. We stood all alone a year ago, and to many countries it seemed that our account was closed. We were finished. All this tradition of ours, our school history, our songs, this part of the history of our country, all were gone and finished and liquidated. Very different is the mood today. Britain, other nations thought, had drawn a sponge across her slate. But instead our country stood in the gap. There was no flinching, no thought of giving in. And by what seemed almost a miracle to those outside these islands, though we ourselves never doubted it, we now find ourselves in a position where I say we can be sure that we have only to persevere to conquer.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Hey, welcome back. So that was Winston Churchill, in case you didn't know or whatever. But I decided to play that because that speech, yes, he was speaking to the British people at the time of World War II. I want to say it was around the time of the Battle of Dunkirk or something. I can't remember. But the premise of the speech that I was playing for you all is it is very highly applicable to what we're seeing today as Americans and the fight for our republic. And I just want to encourage everyone to stay steadfast and loyal to the cause. Um, pray and keep your head cool, keep calm, not encouraging violence, not encouraging violence, not saying go out and rip the left's head off or anything like that. But we we are right to fight for what we believe in, and I think justice will be coming sooner than later. But I digress. Just want to explain the purpose of that video for you. So, anyways, General Lloyd Austin, congratulations, sir. I had the privilege of serving under him briefly in Iraq long time ago, but he's been confirmed as the first person of color, or I should say African American, to serve as a Secretary of Defense. So my hats off, salute, congratulations. Although you're part of a administration with an asterisk next to it, but okay, yeah. Just for the moment, celebrate and say congratulations, sir. Pete Buttigieg was also confirmed as the transportation secretary. I'm laughing because he does not have any experience in this department. But okay, but okay, I'm gonna say it. I think this administration was aiming to over exert, or I should say, over apply the affirmative action mindset. Just they pick people particularly to fill positions to be the first of whatever SJW agenda there is, and it's evident. But I digress. Janet Yellen was also confirmed to be Treasury Secretary, I believe. So, but going back to Pete Buttigieg, being the first cabinet openly gay cabinet member, I would challenge that a little bit because if my recollection serves me correctly, and I'm not saying that this is true or anything, I might have to look this up later on, but I could have sworn that Janet Reno was openly gay or lesbian under the Clinton administration. I could have sworn. I like I said, I don't remember. I don't recall it. But when I saw the article about it, I was like, don't think that's accurate. But like I said, I could be wrong, folks. I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong. It's rare, but it happens. So, anyways, but our homegirl. Our homegirl's in the news again, ladies and gentlemen. AOC, Representative AOC, excuse me, is back in the news because she said she didn't attend the the inauguration because she was afraid to be around Republicans. I I, I can't make this stuff up, folks. Yes, she said she did not attend the inauguration because she was afraid to be around Republicans. Now, given that I caught a very brief glimpse of the inauguration, I am led to believe that that was pretty heavy, pretty heavy of Democrats there. The only Republican I would probably say I saw there was Vice President Pence. I think was the only one that I seen that I recollect. So, is there actually more to the story, and she's just utilizing that as a cover? I don't know. I really don't care at the end of the day. But I will send this message to you, AOC. If you are if you were afraid to be around Republicans, I suggest that you resign your seat in Congress and leave the country because where you work at, you're going to be around Republicans every day. What you're saying right now to me and to the rest of the people is that you are afraid to work with Republicans because you can't be around them because you're afraid. So I don't think you should have a seat in Congress being a representation of your district, of legislation that affects the American people who comprise a big chunk of Republicans if you're afraid of them. So you should resign your seat and go somewhere else. You can actually leave the country too, because everywhere you go, you're gonna probably run across the Republicans. I would hate for you to have such high levels of anxiety that you will not be able to function in life. So that's my recommendation to you. But hey, folks, we'll be right back. We're gonna jump to commercial break.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Hey, so welcome back. Like I said at the top of the show, please visit www.tecntv.com and check out the um, survey link we have there to gauge understanding of what kind of news that you're uh, partaking in, whether it's mainstream media news or have you started to migrate to more alternative news sources like ourselves and Newsmax, OAN, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and Project 22, News 20, whatever they're called. But you know what I'm saying. So just please go there and check out the survey there. It's only one question, and we appreciate that. Also, um, on Sundays, check out our movie listings. We play movies on the channel there as well. So you know, there's a lot of different varieties of movies that we release every week, and highly encourage you all to check that out. So, but in other news, the Patriot Party, according to sources, President Trump, former President Trump, has did a FEC, Federal Elections Commission filing to start up a new party, and that's based out of Georgia somewhere. But nonetheless, I read the article and saw that there was a filing for the Patriot Party. Now, President Trump alluded to coming back in some form. If this is the form that he is talking about, starting up a whole new party, this creates a lot of implications for both the Democrats and the Republicans. Now, there is conversation saying that, hey, having a third party like this will only split the Republican vote. I agree, concur, 100%, wholeheartedly, no argument there. However, comma, let's think about this, ladies and gentlemen. You had 75 million plus people that voted for Donald Trump in this election, 2020. And magically, somehow, some way, a majority of the people's votes were flipped, whatever else happened. And subsequently, Joe Biden came out with 80 plus million votes. Okay. Do you honestly think with a Democrat Party and a Republican Party constantly at beef with each other and the establishment swamp, whatever you want to call them, constantly in gridlock, do you not think it's time for the emergence of a third party, a viable one? If that 75 million votes was garnered and that energy is transformed into this particular party, it would put both parties in serious jeopardy. I'm just telling you, that's what I believe. That's what I honestly believe. And then plus, if you look at it from a down ballot perspective, new emerging candidates, instead of primarying, going through the primary process against a candidate, they can just jump onto this ticket and say in 2024, you will probably see a down ballot of Patriot Party new members beating Democrats and Republicans. It's quite possible. It's quite possible. Now, somebody asked me, they said, would you consider joining the Patriot Party? Well, it all depends on what the platform is, what the aim of the party is, the goals, and all that good stuff. It's not to say that I would leave being a conservative Republican. I'm not saying that, but for the interim, for me, no, because there's really no viability to do so. But however, comma, I will say this: when you have a party like this that's emerging, sure, they're going to probably be nestled under the GOP for the interim because you have to caucus with one side or the other, like independents do. So um, I can see over time as that party grows, it takes shape and everything else, it could just come out the dark and just boom explode, and that's it. They are just a third party. And the independents, we find themselves, you might find a lot of independents merging over from caucusing with Republicans and Democrats. They actually just go full blown conversion and become Patriot Party members. Like I said, it just all depends on what platform is. So I would encourage everyone to stay tuned to that and pay attention to what's going on with that. Now, sure, just like anything else in politics, you're gonna have your infiltrators and people that's gonna just join the party just to join the party, and they actually don't uphold or support the values of that party. That's why we got rhinos and dinos. But okay, outside of all of that, nonetheless, I see some viability to this. If it, like I said, if it comes to fruition and um, they get their act together, it could happen. So, but folks, I'm moving on to something else here that's probably gonna piss off some people. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. Left his tears. So within the um, within the African American community, I'm gonna back up. Within the minority community, period, across the board, from the left side of the domain, there's appeared to be a series of angst and frustration. And I posted a statement yesterday. Was it yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning, and it got a lot of buzz to it, a lot of shares and everything else, and I appreciate that. Thank you all. But it was speaking truth to power that the African American community, particularly, but more so, the sentiment is probably being fed into from other communities such as Latino community and so on and so forth, and the SJW communities of different alphabets and what have you. But I'm speaking mostly, mainly, primarily to the African American community or the Black community because it's a composite, but I'm not thinking to all that. For the sake of argument here, folks, the Black community has been betrayed by the Biden administration, and the sentiment is that they feel betrayed because the Biden administration has been pushing and advancing the agendas of everyone else but the Black community. Now, I have always argued and always asked this question. I have yet to this day, 40 years on Earth, I asked this question: what is the Black agenda? Who created the Black agenda? What is this Black agenda supposed to advance and do? Who, like, who is it supposed to affect? All this, like, why was not I not consulted about this Black agenda from input? So I can understand the frustration and the anger from the Black community about their agendas not being advanced because there is no agenda. You have a few puppets that jump up and down every now and then on the stage and espouse certain things like reparations and like police reform and police justice and police brutality and crime and drugs and guns and this and that and the third, the same stuff, same mantras that affect pretty much all communities. So you're kind of like getting washed out in the wave of things. But but I understand. I understand how they feel, and this is just some of them. Black Lives Matter tweeted, "I'm starting to get a feeling that the Democrat Party used us." This person here, Allison Bailey at Blue Sky Allison, she she actually put some meat to this one. Women put POTUS at POTUS in the White House. Black women in particular. The same women whose girls benefit from sports scholarships, the same women who are overrepresented in the prison population, and on day one, a white man at Joe Biden signs away their rights. Such betrayal. Hey, I've been saying this for years. I've been talking about this stuff for years. That there's such an allegiance from the black community to the Democrat Party, which we are still trying to understand why there is a 90+% voter clip block rate for Democrats that perpetuate these kind of sentiments at the end of election. They get your vote and they disappear for 4 years, and they come back and they say, oh, so this is what happened. We couldn't do that last time, but this time we can do it. And you fall for it every time. Like, for example, the student loan debt that Biden campaigned on, saying that they was going to take $30,000 away from, reduce the student loan debt or wipe away $30,000 of it. That primarily spoke to the black women, okay, minority women. That spoke to them because they're nursing degrees, law degrees, so on and so forth, high end degree programs that they're in. They accumulated that type of wealth, that type of debt. So that got their attention. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna support that. But now he turns around, and he's like, I'm not gonna do 30,000. I'm gonna do 10,000. Like, what the? So there's anger there. And then you look at the native population; they're starting to speak up and be publicly vocal about the Keystone Pipeline being cut, that deal being slashed. That's affecting Middle America. And I talked about this last week. They're pissed off. They're like, hey, you just directly attacked us. Coming from the Native community, that to them is like fighting words. You like declared war on them just now. So you got that, and then let's dissect a little bit of this 1.9 trillion dollar COVID package. Okay, you got he's already saying that he's going to send 4 billion down to the South American countries, Central American countries, excuse me, and now he's advocating or talking about supporting countries overseas with their abortion programs, sending money over there for that. Folks, this man is not on our side. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's like, yeah, I don't care. He's for the people. F Trump. Glad Trump is gone. Biden all the way. Biden 2020. He's doing everything that we want him to do. No, he's not. You're lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Come on, folks. None of these agenda items are anything to benefit you as the American. Let's remove race from the equation. Ethnicity, rather. Let's remove that from the equation. Everything here, I'm gonna remove $30,000 from your student loan debt. I'm just gonna do 10,000. That's not benefiting you. Cutting jobs, the pipeline to increasing gas prices, increasing resources, or decreasing resources, thus increasing supply and demand, thus increasing prices. That's not benefiting you. Come on. Are you serious? Serious right now? Sending money overseas to fund abortions while you're cutting jobs at home? Why is there an agenda to fund abortions right now? I talked about that a long time ago. We're funding. I'm not against like 100% dead set against abortions, ladies and gentlemen, but what I am against is recreational abortion. You out there being irresponsible, being responsible, and then you want to run to a clinic and say, I can't afford to have a child and this and the third. Hey, you can afford to lay up and do it. These are the consequences. Sorry, but but this is what we're looking at, folks. And then the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Joint Chief of Staff, they had this study done about transgenders coming into the military and how much of a burden it would be on unit leadership. And just this morning, before I came on, this administration reversed the Trump policy banning transgenders from joining the military. Now you're going to see an influx of people leaving the military because they don't want to deal with that headache. Not to say that all transgenders will be a headache or everything else, but it will be a logistical and I guess you could say a culture issue in the military. So, I mean, folks, these are things. These are serious issues, And we're seeing the conversation sparking up within the African American community because they're being vocal about it now. Like this is some bullshit. Hey, these are things that I and other conservatives, black conservatives in particular, we've been trying to tell you this. We've been saying this for years. As long as the sun and the moon's been going up and down in the sky, we've been jumping up and down talking about these very things. Emotional and allegiance voting is not going to get you anywhere. Playing identity politics is not going to get you anywhere. And now you're getting slapped in the face and pushed into a corner again. 60 plus years of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Why? What is up with this madness? It's crazy. It's crazy to see. And like I said, having this conversation on my page yesterday, there are people that are like, so yeah, Biden, yeah, this is what needs to be done. Why? Like, do you even understand what you're talking about right now? Do you even understand the implications of what's being done right now? Never mind what's going on overseas. What's going on the home front? We have a high homeless population, high immigration issues, high immigration issues. Just like healthcare, we're still trying to figure that out. But yet we can send billions to other countries. What? We're getting into this mill, this run of the mill of supporting other countries economically, and they're laughing at us all the way to the bank and some, advancing their technologies and everything else, and we're still sitting back looking stupid and becoming more stupid because our education has gone to garbage. Because we're now advancing these liberal agendas in our school, in our education system, where having an exchange of ideas is a crime. Where if I don't agree with you, I should be expelled from school and my name should be removed from the dean's list and my degree should be revoked. Like, are we fucking serious? And no, not pardon my French today. These are the kind of things that really piss me off, and it's like stupid that we're in the 21st century and we're seeing that these are the exact same things that brought Nazi Germany to power, the fall of Greece, the fall of Rome. Empires fell over history behind these super liberal radical ideologies that run amok without any kind of temperance or control behind them. And then we wonder why we're getting screwed. We wonder why the black community cannot advance as a community. We wonder why minority communities in whole cannot advance as a community. I'm not excluding the Caucasian population because they are the majority, but you have those pockets within that segment of society that cannot advance because of these things. I have plenty of friends that are in in or below the poverty line that are Caucasian, and they express these same views and arguments every day as well. So, folks, I say get your crap together, and we need to fix this before it's too late. We became a godless nation, and without God, we're just gonna keep going down the hole of crap, a shithole. We're gonna become a shithole country. Period. So, but folks, woosah. I digress. Folks, pick up my book, The New You, Now Equipped with Wisdom, on Amazon in e-Kindle format if they have not banned me on there. I don't know. I haven't checked. But thank you all for tuning in today. Appreciate you. You can follow me on Rumble. Yeah, you can subscribe to my Rumble channel. YouTube channel. I don't know what's going on with BitChute. I looked at it yesterday and like half my videos have been posted are like frozen and not even loaded. But okay, whatever. Go to BitChute. Follow me there as well. Twitter, if they have not banned me, I don't know. I really don't go on Twitter that much. Facebook, Instagram. I would say Parler. I am there, but we all know Parler isn't existing right now. Which, speaking of which, before I close on that, I want to touch on that real quick. I did see an article from a congressman this morning calling for the FBI to also investigate Facebook and Twitter, and not just Parler, if if they're going to investigate Parler as a platform that was utilized to plan and conspire for the riots that happened on the Capitol. So I totally agree with you, Congressman. I didn't catch the name and all that. I don't remember right now. But I totally agree. If you're going to investigate one platform, investigate them all. If you're going to sit there and advocate that this platform should be removed because it was utilized to plan, I'm sure Parler was not the only platform utilized. I'm sure we saw already the one kid out of, I think it was Utah, whatever, that was using his Discord to share information. So if we're going to take down platforms, take them all down. Or leave them all up and just monitor the people better. Whatever. So, but anyways, like I was saying, you can follow me on all those platforms. I am on MeWe as well. Everything R per him. Not everything R per him, but my R per him on all these platforms. And if you want to support the program, you can Cashapp me at $ R per him for US. Same thing with PayPal, R per him for US. And we will catch you all on Friday, God willing. So God bless you all. Take care, and we'll see you all later on in the week.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.